Welcome to Receiving Noor, weekly Quran study. We're continuing to study some verses from Surah Baqara, the second surah. We just started last class, so this is our second session on early passages of Surah Baqara. Dr. Yamina will lead the session as usual, and we are welcome to join in with comments and questions during the discourse or after the discourse in the Q&A session. Please try to be with us in your heart and your mind, and please share whatever touches you in this journey, and may we be always open to the light of the Quran, inshallah. Bismillah. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Yamina.
Thank you, Isra. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم بارك لنا في رجب وشعبان وبلغنا رمضان. Inshallah, today is the first day of the month of Rajab, and it's the beginning of the blessed months of the year, inshallah. So may our prayers be accepted, and may we be more motivated, inshallah, it's an excuse to be more aware and to focus more on our lasting future than on this passing life for itself, inshallah. Today has been a different day for me personally, because this morning we learned that our beloved friend Alia's youngest brother left this world. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And for me it's been like a maybe we can say an opportunity to again reflect on the meaning of death. And it reminded me that last Monday, I thought a few weeks ago, but actually it was last Monday, because it was after our weekly meeting, after our Quran class. We stayed on and with few friends, and we talked about how to prepare for death here and now, because in December, Alia, the same friends, her father had left this world. A beautiful person, alhamdulillah, mashallah. And so we were talking, as we were talking about Alia's father and how he beautifully prepared for his leaving. So we were reflecting on how do we actually prepare for death. And a poem, a reflective poem by Muhammad Jalaluddin al-Rumi, rahimahullah, came to my mind. It's a beautiful, I think, poem, and I'd like to share it with you. It says, when I die, he says, when I die, when my coffin is being taken out, you must never think I'm missing this world. Don't shed any tears. Don't lament or feel sorry. I am not falling into a monster's abyss. When you see my corpse, my body is being carried, don't cry for my leaving. I am not leaving. I am arriving at eternal love. When you leave me in the grave, don't say goodbye. Remember, a grave is only a curtain for the paradise behind. You'll only see me descending into a grave. Now watch me rise. How can there be an end when the sun sets or the moon goes down? It looks like the end. It seems like a sunset, but in reality, it is a dawn. When the grave locks you up, that is when your soul is freed. Have you ever seen a seed fallen to earth, not rise with a new life? Why should you doubt the rise of a seed named human? Have you ever seen a bucket lowered into a well come back empty? Why lament for a soul when it came back like Joseph, like Yusuf from the well? when for the first time you close your mouth, your words and soul will belong to the world of no place, no time. And this is something that we need to prepare for this while living. I mean, on that day when we leave the world, it's too late. And there is a phrase, that an expression that is repeated in the Quran, which is كل نفس ذائقة الموت, which means every soul is a taster of death, usually translated as will taste death. But actually, the word used is not a verb. It's dha'iqatu. It gives the meaning of it is bound to taste, but it also gives the meaning of constancy. It's the meaning of permanence. Every soul is a taster. That's how it is created. And I understand it as we are always tasting death. If only we would pay attention to it. And then not only we will make peace with death, but we will start seeing that for what it is truly. It is not the end of everything we love. It is, and we care about. It is actually the beginning. It is the gate to an endless realm, to a realm where of permanence, of everything we taste here, everything that is impermanent here, on the other side of that gate that we call death, it is permanent. So the more we start living from our soul, our ruh, the more we will realize that our physical being, how our thoughts, our emotions, everything that is changing and passing and impermanent is only a tiny part of who we are and who we truly are, that part of us that is always witnessing, that is always observing, that is always that is aware, that has that self, that can be conscious of what's going on and watching and observing. That part, the ruh, will or can witness that al-maut is, that as everything is dying, as every day is passing, as everything around us and part of us is changing, something is always permanent. Something is always there. Things go and come, the flow is always there. And so we can, inshallah, appreciate and taste. Dha'iqa is tasting and appreciating. It's something good. Dhawq is something that gives you joy and pleasure. In, for instance, because this expression is repeated many times in the Quran, but I think the first time it appears in Ali Imran, in Surah Ali Imran, which is the third surah, in ayah 185, we're told, كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور. Every soul is a taster of death, translated as will taste death, and you will be paid in full only on the day of resurrection. Whoever is kept away from the fire and admitted to paradise will have succeeded or triumphed. And as for the life of this world, it is only an illusory pleasure, mata' al-ghurur, or you can say an enjoyment of self-delusion. Ghurur is illusion, self-delusion. Subhanallah. So inshallah, we will be of those who, the muhsin or the muttaqeen that we are going to learn about in Surah Al-Baqarah, who are prepared to meet their Lord, who, because they seek wajh Allah here and now all the time. So they actually look forward to leaving this illusory word, this word of illusory pleasure, because nothing is permanent. However, the world is important from the aspect that looks to wajh Allah, that looks to akhirah, that looks to the divine names, that reflect the meanings of the beautiful divine names, inshallah. So inshallah, we learn to relate to the world from that beautiful aspect instead of the dying, passing, impermanent aspect of it. So back to Surah Al-Baqarah, we stopped at ذلك الكتاب. We said ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين, and we saw why it was ذلك الكتاب, that is the book, rather than this is the book. In Surah Al-Waqi'ah mentioned, which is Surah 56 in Ayah 80, the Quran, we said the Quran is described as a tanzeel, tanzeelun min Rabbil Alameen. A tanzeel is a successive, a constant, perpetual sending down. It's a process, the process of sending down, usually understood as referring to the successive sending down of the Quran in the, not at all at once, but in 23 years. But I understand it as, yes, that is included, but it also means that it's always being sent down. The meaning is always being revealed. And this sending down, it is a tanzeel, a constant, perpetual sending down from the Rabb of all worlds. And we know the Rabb of all worlds from Surah Al-Fatiha. We've been introduced to him. So being a tanzeel, the Quran is an ongoing process of inzal, an ongoing process of sending down, and not a static codex, a static physical book as we may imagine when we do not pay attention to what we are told and just say book. Remember, the Alif Lam Mim has taught us to be more careful and not take things for granted, not take meanings or understanding for granted, and rather be in a state of seeking help in understanding, seeking meaning, seeking understanding. So the fact that it is an inzal, it means it is not a static thing sitting on the shelves. And something that's easy to remember is that there was no physical book to touch at the time of when it was revealed. It was codified and made into a physical book later. And so just because we have the whole text, if I have the whole text in writing, or now we have it in audio, or I could even have it in memorized, it does not mean that we have been blessed with the Quran. If it has not changed my life, it has not been revealed to me, if I have not done any work, then I have not engaged the Quran. And as it names, the very name Quran suggests, Quran means reading, recitation. It means the process of reading. It's the name of the process of reading. And as such, it stipulates the reading, the qira'ah, the Quran. And so the Quran is revealed within the the reading as we read it. Otherwise, it remains hidden and inaccessible from us. It is there, but I'm not accessing it unless or until I make the intention to engage it and ask from the one who is sending it, from Rabb al-Alameen, for help and for guidance from him through the Quran, by means of the Quran. So I repeat it because it's so very important. The sending down of the Quran, the inzal, happens in the interaction with our reading, our intention to read, to listen to the messages of the Quran, of the ayat of the Quran. We are told, for instance, in Surah Al-An'am, which is Surah 6, ayah 46, we're told, say, what do you think? If God were to take away your hearing and your sight and seal up your hearts, what God, what deity is there other than God who would give them back to you? Look how we explain the signs, the ayat, yet they still turn away. So this is a Quran, this is an ayah. Every part of the Quran is Quran. So this ayah of the Quran unfolds its meanings, its messages from the unseen onto us when we are willing to listen to it and follow its guidance. Without that willingness, that intention, do you think this ayah will mean anything? If I never reflect on my hearing and sight and how they are being sustained here and now, and how we're made to hear and see and comprehend through hearing and seeing and making sense of what we hear and see, subhanallah, if I do not reflect on that, would this ayah mean anything to me? It's saying, what do you think? If God were to take away your hearing and your sight, who other than God could bring it back to you? If I do not reflect, I would just read it, close the book, and go and live my life. It will never, it will not bring any light to me, to my heart. It won't transform my perception of myself or the world. It would be just words. I may understand what it means, but that's it. The Quran will not reveal itself to me unless I make the intention to listen to it and learn from it and engage it as tanzil from Rabb al-Alameen. Because it's talking about God is the one who gave you your hearing and sight. Okay. If he takes it back, can anything else bring it back? Give it back to you? This is worth reflecting for days, subhanallah, because it's a reality. And the more we'll ponder and reflect and meditate on this reality, the more we will realize, who am I? I don't have any control over my hearing and sight. And I never even thought about it. I just say my eyes, my hearing, my sight. I have, some people may have like a good hearing on music or something, or languages, and their pronunciation is better and they take it for granted, for instance. So it is only when we have that intention and we are willing to listen to the Quran and follow the guidance. Following the guidance is I start actually thinking about my hearing and my sight, and thinking about what would happen if I lose it. What can give it back to me? Unless I do that, I am not reading the Quran. I'm just reading words. And only then will this ayah start making sense to us. And unfold its guidance onto us. The Quran will start revealing itself to us. In the same surah, Surah Al-An'am, in Surah 6, Ayah 99, we're told, it is He, meaning God, it is God who sends down water from the sky. With it, with water, we, God, produce all living growth. Then we bring greenery from it, and from that we bring out grains, one riding on the other in close packed rows. From the date palm come clusters of low-hanging dates, and there are gardens of vines, olives, and pomegranates, alike yet different. Look at their fruits as they grow and ripen. In all that there are ayat, there are signs for people who would believe. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكُمْ لَآيَةٍ لِقَوْمٍ يُؤْمِنُونَ. So unless we actually go out in the world and observe the rain and the process of growing of all kinds of fruits and greenery, and reflect on that process, and unless we feel it and are amazed at it, and we see it, we observe it, we witness it, and we feel it in our heart, in our soul, and we are at awe of what's going on, the miracle of life and the activity of Rububiyyah there, and we witness that nothing can take care of all this except a source of life, someone who has the power to control everything, to give life to everything, to know all the order of everything, and that's what we call Rabb. And so the activity of that we see, we become aware of the activity of Rububiyyah there in the world. Unless we do that, would we ever get a glimpse of the message of this Quranic ayah? Can I just read it and then go and say I read the Quran? No, that would not be reading the Quran. It won't unfold, its meaning won't unfold onto me. How would we feel how compassionate and generous our Rabb is unless we follow the guidance of this ayah? As we follow it, then its meaning will start unfolding in my interaction with the words, and therefore in my interaction with the ayat in the creation, with the rain, with plants growing, with the fruits, with me eating them, enjoying them, looking at them, touching them. And then I will realize how compassionate, how generous our Rabb is, that He's the giver of life, that He knows everything. He knows our needs and takes care of them. He's Rabbul Alameen. He's all-knowing, all-powerful. We are told also in Surah Al-Tariq, Surah 86, Ayah 5, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. Let human being then observe of what he has been created. In order for this ayah to, for the message, for the Quran in this ayah to unfold itself, reveal itself to me, I have to do the qira'ah. I have to do the reading, the listening. I have to seek its meaning. And in order to seek its meaning, I have to truly read it. And reading it means, it's like there is a map and I am told take 30 steps, then turn right, then you go straight east and this and that, and then you find, let's say, it's a treasure map, and the treasure is there. And I look at the map and look at it, fold it, put it in my pocket or on the shelf, and I say, I have the map and I have the treasure. No, you have no treasure. You have to follow the map. The map is to be followed. It's not to be folded and put in your pocket. I'm not using it as a map if I'm not following it. It is a map, but it is not a map for me until I use it as a map. And so it is with the Quran. It becomes Quran for me when I engage it as Quran, when I follow its guidance. And I cannot read it without following it, without reflecting and following what it's telling me. Then I'm not reading. I'm just repeating. In Surah Al-Ghashiyah, which is Surah 88, Ayah 17, we are told, do they, it's talking about people who deny resurrection, do they never gaze at the clouds pregnant with water and observe how they are created, and at the sky how it is raised aloft, and at the mountain how firmly they are reared, and at the earth how it is spread out? And you see how it is all about. Yanzurun is to observe, to gaze, to look intentionally. And we are invited to look at how things are happening in the world. And unless I go and actually look intentionally and observe at how the clouds become pregnant with water and how they are created and how they are raised up, I cannot, I won't be reading this this ayah. I will be just repeating it like a parrot. In Surah Al-Rum, which is Surah 30, Ayah 50, for instance, we are told, look then as the imprint. This is an ayah that we repeat a lot. فَانْظُرْ إِلَىٰ آثَارِ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ كَيْفَ يُحْيِي الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. Look at the imprint of God's mercy, how He restores again. How? It's something that I need to go and observe out there. How He restores the earth to life after its death. This same God is the one who will return people to life after death. He has power over all things. Subhanallah. And you can check on your own also Surah Qaf, which is Surah 50, from the beginning, from Surah 1 to 11. Beautiful, mashallah. So the Quran unfolds and delivers its message to us to the extent that we intend to listen to it and be blessed with its guidance and follow its guidance and be blessed with it. And to the extent, and for this to happen, we have to follow the guidance. We have to start by actually looking and observing what we are asked to look at. For instance, looking at the creational ayats, the ayats in the creation, in the world, and interact with them in the way we are told in the ayah. And then we can verify, is what the ayah is saying, is it correct or not? I follow the map. Does it really take me to a treasure or not? And then I would have confirmed the ayah, the message of the ayah. And that's why we are told in the Quran that the Quran is protected, is concealed and protected within the book. We are told in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, Surah 56, from ayah 77 to 80, إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ لَا يَمَسَّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ تَنزِيلٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. This is a noble Quran, it's a noble recitation, a noble Quran, let's say, in a book. The Quran is in a book well protected and concealed. So it's concealed, but not in order to hide it from us, but in order to preserve it, to protect it. No one may touch it except the purified. And the touch here, mess, is like a very light touch. And usually it is understood that you shouldn't touch the physical book. However, let's remember there was no physical book to touch that time. And this ayah was still there. You cannot touch the Quran except the purified, because even if I intend to listen and read, my intention has to be purified. If I don't have the right intention, then also I won't be able to access the Quran. So it's not about you should not touch, because, okay, when it was the Quran, we can make sure only the believers will touch it. How about now? It's in MP3s, it's in online, it's everywhere. No one can make it, no one has to even touch it to access it, to read the words. However, you can read the words, or you can see it, you can listen to the words. But does it mean that that's the book? Okay. But the Quran is maknoon, is concealed and well protected within the book. And it carries on saying, a tanzil, a successive sending down from Rabb al-Alamin. Subhanallah. So when we are not aware that an ayah indicates beyond itself, that an ayah is not only about itself, that it is a signpost. Of course, what the signpost says is important, but it's important because of where it is sending us. We don't collect the signposted for themselves. They are important because they are telling us something about somewhere else. They are showing us the way. And when we are not aware that an ayah means signpost, then we tend to think that the Quran is only what we see, the writing, or what we hear, the recited words. Whereas that's only the tip of the iceberg. That's of course part of it, but that's the signpost part of it. It's pointing to somewhere, to an infinite realm of the unseen, to alam al-ghaib, to infinite meanings that are constantly flowing from the unseen. That those ayat that I just shared, they are talking about something that's going on in the world all the time. So in order to understand those ayat, although the words seem to be limited, it's few sentences, but it's talking about something that's going on in the world constantly. So it's something we can reflect on and observe all the time. And each time we will see new facets and new aspects of that reality, because the reality they're pointing to is endless. They're pointing, for instance, to divine Rahman. Divine Rahman has no limits. Today you will see it as one phenomenon. Tomorrow you will realize there were other things going on, and there are layers and layers of Rahmah going on, and generosity and rububiyyah and beauty and forms and colors. And just take the plants without even adding animals. The more you observe, the more that ayah becomes more and more meaningful. It is a sign, and it is pointing to, the realities it's pointing to, are endless. So the Quran is much more than just the world. The spoken words actually are sacred and important because of the messages they convey, because of the messages they indicate. And so the Quran is sent to make everything clear. We are told in the Quran, it is sent to make everything clear, and it is sent as guidance and good news for those who surrender. And those who do not comprehend this reality of the Quran, they expect a physical book, or they're stuck in the physical aspect of the book. So we're told in Surah An-Nisa, which is Surah 4, Ayah 153, the people of the book demand that you make a book, you meaning the Prophet ﷺ, make a book physically come down to them from heaven. But like, they demanded even more than that of Musa ﷺ, when they said, show us God face to face. So you see, they are being unreasonable. Why? Because they don't get what Quran or divine guidance is. They say, where, make a physical book come down. In another ayah in Surah Al-An'am, Surah 6, ayah 7, we're told, but even if we had sent down to you a book on paper, kitaban fi qirtas, qirtas is paper or parchment, and they had touched it with their own hands, those who disbelieve would still say, this is clearly nothing but a deception. So it says, even if there was a book on paper that came down, they would still make up something. But he's saying, if we had sent down, because no physical book was sent down, words were revealed. So when God repeatedly says that he sent a book to his messenger or to the messengers, other messengers as well, it is a reference to the divine message sent through the revealed words. Just like God's rahmah is sent to us through various created beings, for instance, through water, so too his rahmah is sent to us as guidance through the book, through the words of the Quran. And so when we are urged to believe in the book sent to the messenger, it is referring to something more than believing that God sent the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad. It is more than that, because to believe that God sent the Quran to Muhammad, that is part of believing in Muhammad being the messenger of God. However, believing in the Prophet is one article of Iman, of belief, but believing in the book itself is a separate article of belief. And so we need to believe in the book itself separately, and therefore in the Quran. And that's why we are urged to believe in the book. For instance, in Surah An-Nisa, Surah 4, Ayah 136, we are told, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا آمنوا بالله ورسوله والكتاب الذي نزل على رسوله والكتاب الذي أنزل من قبل. It says, all you who believe in God and his messenger and in the book which he has sent to his messenger. So believing in God, 1, believing in the messenger, 2, believing in the book which he has sent to his messenger is 3. And part of it is also, and the book which he has sent to those before. Anyone who denies God, his angels, his books, his messengers, and the last day has gone far astray. So when it is about denying, it's also denying the book is also spelled, it's also mentioned separately. In Surah Al-Baqara, in this surah, in ayah 285, we are told the messenger believes in what has been sent down to him from his Lord, from his Rabb, as do the believers. So the messenger, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. The messenger believes in what is sent to him. He believes that it is from his Rabb. Just because it is sent to him, it doesn't mean that he's okay. He also has to believe. And as do the believers. They all believe that what is sent to the messenger is sent down from our Rabb. They all believe in God, in his angels, in his books, and in his messengers. So you see, believing in the book is a separate article of Iman. And in other, it is repeated many times. That's how we know the articles of Iman. So the first mysterious ayah, Alif Lam Mim, introduced us to an unseen realm from which meanings flow to us. And we were taught to read and listen with a particular attitude, intentionally, consciously, and as a result, an attitude of abd, an attitude of not assuming that we know everything, being open to we don't know. And actually, with Alif Lam Mim, we are put in front of the fact that we don't know what these letters could be, because that's not how we communicate. We don't communicate in letters. We communicate in words. And as a result, we engaged the book in a transformative way, in a way that transformed us, that transformed the way we looked at ourselves, at language, at how we understand, how much we understand, how much we take for granted. And so now we can witness that indeed this book is unique and unlike anything we are used to, and that the book seems close to us, but its source is far. It is in an unseen world. And the guidance that flows from it flows from that source. So the book seems close, but the Quran, the meaning, the message is very far. And it's coming from a source that is not only far from us, but also far in the sense that it is not of this world. So if someone says, well, someone may say, oh, this is your own interpretation, you're imagining things, I only read Alif Lam Mim, they are letters, the names of the letters in Arabic, and then that is the book in which there is no doubt, it is guidance. I'd say we can call this experience, someone can call this experience an interpretation, imagination, whatever, it's a name, we are naming it. The fact is, whatever the name, let's not get stuck in the naming. The fact is that something happened. Something did happen. I did receive new feelings, new meanings. I lived a new experience as I was engaging these two ayats, especially the first one. So my understanding of language and speech did transform. And as a result, my understanding of myself and my capacity to receive meanings, to receive messages also transformed, at least to a certain degree. And another certain fact that occurred as I engaged these two ayats is that all this came to me. It did not come out of me, but it came to me. I was the receiver, and it came to me from an unseen source, a source beyond myself and beyond what we are used to in the world, what we observe in the world. So it is a fact that I was the recipient only of all these experiences and these feelings and these meanings. So in any case, even if we don't start as a believer or as a surrenderer, if we are willing to acknowledge the facts, we can realize that we are being the addressees to some unaccustomed and meaningful speech that is proceeding from the unseen. If we are truthful to what's going on. So again, it was Alif Lam Mim, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. That is the book in which there is no doubt. It is guidance for the God conscious who believe in the unseen, keep up the prayer, and give out of what we have provided for them. لا ريب فيه means there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever in it. It's la is categoric. It has a meaning of certainty. Certainly, absolutely, there is no doubt in it. And here we are told la rayba fih, there is no doubt in it. And later in ayah 26, we are told if you have doubt, and the same word is used, in kuntum fi raybin, if you have doubt in what we have sent down to our servant, our abd, then produce a single surah like it. And enlist whatever supporters you have other than God. Other than God, use whatever you want, all the resources you want, if you truly think you can. Subhanallah, there is a challenge. This is a challenging ayah. So it's la rayba fihi, in it. And the in has been also understood as a sign that one's gaze should penetrate to the inside of the book, inside the Quran, the interior, the inner meaning of the Quran. It's within. There is no doubt within it. So look within, don't stop outside. And it's because it's when we look within, when we stop and reflect and really gaze inside what's going on, that the truths conveyed by means of the Quran, by means of the words, by means of the book, will reveal themselves to us, and then there will be no doubt about the truth and the guidance of this message, inshallah. And it says,
Dr. Yamina, just a small question here. So, no doubt in it is a way of saying that it truly has no doubt about it, because in makes an emphasis that, outwardly some things might, look confusing to you or contradictory to you, but if you truly look at it, in it, there is no doubt. It has actually no doubt in it. So, could there be another proposition with la rayba?
Not
Anhu, maybe?
No. Rather than another proposition, you could say the whole expression could be used. You wouldn't use la rayba fi. You would use another expression when there will be no fi. Because when we use rayb, we have to use fi.
Okay, la shakkun anhu could be, or something.
Or you don't have to even use a word. It could be used, an adjective or something like that. There are other ways of saying it without using this preposition. So the fact that it is fihi is also like beautiful, because it says like, have you looked in it, or are you just looking outside? And sorry, do you have?
Thank you.
And then there is hudan, and hudan is guidance. However, it's not al-huda, for instance, the guidance. It doesn't have a definite article, and it has the tanween at the end, which in Arabic is the sign of the indefinite. There's no article in Arabic, you use the tanween. So it is an indefinite guidance. And it infers, in balagha, it infers exaltedness. But it also means if something is definite, it means, can you see the book there, the guidance, the chair in that corner? But the fact that it is not defined, it is because it cannot be defined, because in order to define it, we would have to limit it. However, it is unlimited. And so it is a sign to the encompassing nature of divine guidance, because it encompasses everything. It's so subtle It is beyond our grasp and our understanding. Whatever we understand is part of it, but it is not all of it. So it is not the guidance, but guidance. And it also means there is only one such guidance. It is the guidance, the ultimate guidance. There is no other guidance because it fills everything. Anything that is truthful is either part of it or it is not guidance. In the same surah, in Surah Al-Baqara, in Ayah 185, we are told it is guidance to humankind. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس. It was the month of Ramadan in which the Quran was sent as guidance unto human beings, humankind. But in this ayah, in the second ayah, it says it is guidance للمتقين, هدى للمتقين. It is guidance for those or to those who have taqwa. And taqwa comes over 36 times in different forms, not only in noun forms, but here muttaqin, for instance, those who have taqwa, and it's also verb form and everything, 36 times in Surah Al-Baqarah, subhanallah. In the whole Quran, it appears in different form, in 8 derived forms, 258 times. And you can understand how central, how much taqwa is important in the context of the Quran, because taqwa reflects the level of our iman. And al-muttaqin, the people of taqwa, are the people who seek divine guidance. We'll see here in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, they follow divine guidance, and therefore they benefit the most from it. Taqwa is from the root waqaya. So the first form is waqa yaqi, wiqaya. It is to preserve, to guard, to protect, to take good care of, to shield. And the 8th form, which is the form we want here, that's used here, it's ittaqa. And ittaqa is to be aware of, to be on one's guard. So it requires vigilance. So like being vigilant about ghafla, vigilant about not falling into shirk. You don't want to fall into ghafla, you don't want to fall into shirk. That vigilance is part of taqwa, that the meaning of taqwa, that being cautious. And how do we do this? By constantly remembering God. And the remembrance of God is not remembering only in your memory or only saying, but living in the way we are taught to live in the Quran. As you are giving in the name of God, you have to remember God in order to give Bismillah. So it's not only about saying Allah and sitting in a corner, but living in the world with that awareness. So taqwa is about taking preventive precautions against unwanted results like ghafla and shirk. And how? We are told in the 3rd ayah who these God conscious, these people of taqwa al-muttaqin are, those who believe in the unseen first, and are constant in prayer. They keep up the prayers and give out of what we provide for them as sustenance. Ayah 4, it carries on the description. Those who believe in that which has been sent to you, as well as in that which was sent before you, it is they who in their innermost are certain of the hereafter. It is they who follow their Rabb's guidance, and it is they they who will prosper, who will attain to happiness. So المتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. So the muttaqin believe in the unseen. Without believing the unseen, nothing can start. And believing in the unseen, it is not enough to say, I don't deny, there must be something. I don't deny the unseen. I don't know how to express this, but can I because it is unseen, we are talking about believing, right? I don't say I believe in the bottle of water in front of me because it's there. It's a fact. I can see it. So the very fact that the word yu'minun is used, it means this unseen is something not immediate. However, Iman is more than not denying. Iman means here, the fact that it comes at the very beginning, it means that it is the source of everything. Because in our ghafla, when we live in ghafla, it seems like what we touch and see and observe and deal with our five senses, it seems that that is the reality. And like it is the basis of reality. But is it true? How can the basis of reality keep changing? And if you have kids or a kitten or something, with a kitten you see it even more quickly. The kitten becomes like a big, huge cat very quickly in a few months. That can't be. Something that is constantly changing cannot be the basis of reality. The fact that it is changing means that is itself proceeding from somewhere else. And it is that change is a sign and indication to the flowing from that somewhere else. So the muttaqin they believe in that because they see everything as a sign. The changing itself is the biggest sign to that flow from the unseen. So believing in the unseen means they realize that that unseen is the source of everything. Everything else proceeds from it. And not the other way around. Because in ghafla, it seems that what I see and hear and smell and is my reality. It's not true. It's not true. It's the other way around. And we always get it the other way around. That's why our iman is not grounded. There is no root. Because we're saying something, but we actually, our living reality is in contradiction with our claim. So the muttaqin are the people who first believe in the unseen. Everything else is going to be established on this firm ground, because the only permanent, unchanging reality is the reality of the unseen, not in this world. And they keep up the salat. They are constant. So the salat is, they are always in connection. The salat is that imad ad-din. It's like the pillar, always remembering that I am a abd, and therefore I am a recipient of rububiyah and rahmah. Why is it important? Because unless I keep up the salat, unless I sustain that consciousness and mindfulness and knowingness and awareness that I am abd, then if I forget that I'm abd, I will start forgetting that the world out there is being sustained and therefore is flowing from the unseen, and therefore the unseen is the reality and everything else is proceeding from it. And that's why we fall in ghafla, because we forget, when I forget I'm an abd, I forget about the rububiyyah, not only within myself, but everywhere in the world. And so the second sustains is what keeps that reality of the unseen present, keeps us present with that reality. And then they give out of that what God provides them. So it's not only about giving to others, but also realizing and knowing that it is God who provides them with everything. If I'm an abd, if my hearing and sight, as we were told in that ayah, and if my breathing right now is a gift from God, therefore, whatever I have, whether it be kindness or knowledge or strength or money or food or whatever, you can share whatever others need that I have. They are willing to give it because they acknowledge that it is given to them, it is a gift, and they give it with that consciousness. They realize that it is given and they're grateful that it is given, and they express that gratitude by sharing it with others. And they do not only give it, they give it Bismillah, with that consciousness. And actually, it is because of this knowing, it's because they know that they are, everything is a gift from God, that it is so easy for them to share and give to others. Because it's not theirs, it's not mine. It's not like I'm attached to it, I can't give it. It's, if I need it, okay. If someone needs it more, it's easy to share it. And also because there is no fear. What if I share it? What will now I don't need it, but next year I might need it. Next month I might need it. Next month, Allah Kareem, He's the giver. He's the one who is giving to, even to the other one, He's giving through you. And He will give through other means to me. He gives us all this food and all this water through all kinds of means. من حيث لا نحتسب, from where we don't even expect, as we are told in the Quran. And this giving is a way not only to sustain that connection and that awareness of being abd in the salat, but if we can't give, then I could be deceiving myself. I could be standing in the salat and saying, yes, I'm abd, everything is from God, but if I can't give it, it means something is still missing. I'm still holding on to it. I still can't let go of the delusion that it is not truly mine. That's why giving is so important. And it is repeated again and again in the Quran, because that sense of ubudiyah, and therefore being the recipient of the gift of rububiyyah, it can be, we can deceive ourselves with not thinking that I accept it when actually I don't. And how do I check myself? Can I give easily or not? When I can't give easily, then it's time to stop and learn to let go of the false illusions and deceptions and my false beliefs about what I think is mine, when everything is actually a gift. And then in Ayah 4, we are told they believe in what is sent. So they believe that the Quran the meaning of the Quran is sent. Now, if we think that the Quran was sent to Muhammad والسلام, centuries ago, and that's it, now we read the book and that's it, and we recite the words or hear them and that's it, then how can I confirm and believe here is, it's not, oh, I believe it may be right. In Arabic, it's not like that. Iman is much stronger. It means I know, I am sure. How can I be sure it is sent? It's because it's always being sent. It means they engage the Quran in a way that there is no way they can't believe it, because it is being sent. They say, yeah, this is sent. And they have yaqeen, certainty. Yaqeen, yuqinun bil akhirah. And this last one, inshallah, next time we will talk about it. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. So here there is an emphasis of akhirah coming at the beginning. In Arabic, we could say يُوقِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ would be the normal speech. بِالْآخِرَةِ يُوقِنُونَ, there is an emphasis on the fact that it is akhirah that they are certain of. It doesn't say yu'minun, but yuqinun. This is an emphasis on how sure, certain they are about it. And the fact that there is a hum there is also a third emphasis. Because you don't need a hum normally, but it's there to make it, to emphasize what's going on. And the yaqeen here, as we mentioned many times in the past, have three stages. There are three stages that appear in the Quran as well. Three stages of yaqeen. The yaqeen, the certainty of knowing, ilm al-yaqeen, the certainty of seeing, ayn al-yaqeen, and the certainty of living and experiencing, haqq al-yaqeen. And here it says yuqinun, it means at least the certainty of knowing, at least. But it's open to all the stages. But there is a certainty about akhirah. And all what has been the belief in the unseen, the keeping up the salat, the giving out of what God provides for them, the belief in what is sent, are all means to increase their yaqeen and their certainty in akhirah, because they are all directly related to akhirah. We'll do that. We'll look at the connection next time, inshallah. And then we are told in the 5th ayah, it is they who follow their Rabb's guidance. And it is they, the muttaqeen, those who have taqwa, and it is they who will prosper. Al-muflihun are those who attain, who reach falah. And so falah is from the root falaha. For instance, a falah is a farmer who cultivates the land, and falah al-ard is to cultivate the land. And the fourth form, which is used here, aflaha, is to prosper, to be successful, to attain or acquire what one desires and seeks, and what brings happiness. So al-muflihun here are those who prosper and attain what they seek. They attain happiness. There is also a connotation of permanence and continuance of happiness and ease and joy in this word. It's like the produce of the earth. That's why it's used for the farmer who cultivates the land, and you put seeds, and lo and behold, what comes out of the land is, subhanallah, the crops are, unless we observe it with our mind, with our, we could not make the connection and between what we put in, what we cultivate in the land, what we sow in the land, in the earth, and the crops that will result from it, that's given from us, the fruits and the, let's say, vegetables or fruits or whatever, or flowers, or you put a small seed and you get all this tasty, beautiful looking, even vegetables, they all come first, there is a flower that open up, there is smell, there is taste, there is, subhanallah. So if we try to understand all these things intellectually only, we will miss a lot. It's like someone saying, a farmer would tell us, if you want to get this kind of crops, this is what you need to do. Take these seeds and sow them in the earth. We will laugh. Can you explain to me? Can you imagine if I say, I've never seen this happen before, never observed it. And I will say, can you explain to me how this becomes this? You say, I can't explain to you. Do it. Most of what happens in our life, we take it for granted, but actually it's not an intellectual, rational reasoning. It is something that we observed in the world. And so we take it for granted and we think this is how things happen. But if we want to limit our understanding of life, and therefore our understanding of the guidance of the Quran too, I will understand it intellectually and then I will practice it, you will miss it. It's like going to the gym and you see people healthy and you say, okay, how can I be healthy? They will tell you, you have to run, you have to lift this weight. Say, if I lift these things, I will get weaker. Intellectually, our mind, that's how, the only thing I can think of is this. If I keep lifting these things, I will get very tired and I might get weaker. It's only after we do it or observe others doing it that we see, oh, they get stronger. It's like memorizing. You would think that if I keep memorizing things, my memory is going, my head, we don't think is memory. We think, my head is going to get full, I'll get confused. Not at all. The more you memorize, the more your memory gets better and better. It's easier and easier to memorize. And so it is with filaha, with farming. You cultivate things and then, so you have to have an amount of trust and surrender, and go surrender, sow the seeds, cultivate, and then wait. And then you will see that, yes, there is something else. And here, what we are cultivating, the seeds of taqwa, gives the crops of falah, which is continuous and permanent happiness and ease and joy, and also it's prosperity, success, attaining whatever you truly desire and seek are all contained within this world. So al-muflihun are those who attain to falah, to that state of prosperity and happiness. And in the adhan, when we are called for the prayer, it says hayya al-salah, hayya al-falah. We are called to the means to attaining falah in this world and in the next, in Jannah, inshallah. So ayah 5 is interesting because we are told it is they who follow their Rabb's guidance. So ayah 5 explains to us what it means to follow our Rabb's guidance. It's not like, oh, we'll follow guidance. Follow guidance is not up to me. I'm following I have to follow. It's like following the map. You have to follow the map. I can't go wherever I want and say I'm following the map. If I'm following my Rabb's guidance, it means I listen to what it is telling me. And here it is telling us the first thing is to believe in the unseen, for instance. And then at the end, it's saying these, ulaika, those are the ones who ala hudan min rabbihim. It's actually in Arabic it's said in a different way. They are on their Rabb's guidance. They are on that path of that, and the same huda, that unlimited guidance is again mentioned, but in English it's difficult to translate it. So you have to say they follow their Rabb's guidance. It means their way of being, what they are doing, what they believe, puts them in the path of guidance of their Rabb. And وَأُولَٰئِكَ, and those are the muflihun, the true, that's prosperity, those who truly succeed and attain prosperity and happiness. Subhanallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين
آمين. جزاكم الله خير. Yamina. Is there anybody who would like to offer a comment or ask a question at this time?
I have a quick clarification. This is Maha. So Yamina, at the beginning you were saying, or at the middle actually, that the taqwa is directly conditioned. Is conditioned on the belief of the unseen. Like there is no possibility of having taqwa without a very firm belief in the unseen. Did I get that right?
I said that the first characteristic of muttaqin is to believe in the unseen. That's what we told in this ayah. Okay, they are described firstly, and I said that is important because belief in the unseen it's like the canvas on which everything else is going to be. What do you do on a canvas? You work weaved on. It's where you stand as a believer. When that is not clear, everything else is going to be built on a shaking ground. Does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. So it's basically the difference between turbulent or an insecure attitude with everything, with our beliefs, with how we feel about ourselves, with crises we face, with our relationship to God, and our attitude towards taqwa, with in relationship to the unseen. So it's not particularly a conditional relationship. It's more one of a deeper grounding.
Yeah, it's like being aware and acknowledging, being aware and knowing and acknowledging and living accordingly. On what do we acknowledge? The reality that the unseen is the reality, not what what we see flowing in this world. What we see flowing in this world is a relative reality. It's not the source of reality, which when we live in ghafla, we forget. That's why if we grieve endlessly. When we are sad, we find ourselves in unbalanced states of being, because we experience the world as though it is the ultimate reality, when actually it is a changing reality. What is today may not be tomorrow. It could be totally different. It could be even the opposite. Everything is possible because it is not the source. It is changing. And so the more, before many times, I had emphasized the fact that in order to interact with the world as a world of ayat, bearing messages from the unseen, from our Rabb, we have to be, and it's meaning of message texts in the Quran. It's I'm not making it up. We have to always be aware and remember that everything is passing. Everything is changing. Everything is impermanent. The moment we forget and deal with the world as though it is permanent, and therefore as though we were permanent, we lose the balance, and we forget. We are not believing in the unseen. We start believing in the impermanent, because the unseen is the only permanent reality. And you are right, it has consequences that over everything, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive the world, how we interact, how with others, with events that happen to us. There are things that sometimes even may seem unbearable, because we are disconnected with the reality of the unseen, and we are totally, sometimes it seems like we are totally drowned into an event. Why? Because there is a disconnection with belief in the unseen. And it doesn't mean that there will be no sadness, no grieving, nothing, no fear. But those feelings, those emotions, those experiences, we will be able to get over them, because they themselves, we will start experiencing them as ayat, meaning they have a meaning that proceeds from the unseen. That's why they believe, the muttaqin, afterwards we're told, they believe in what is sent, because what is sent is not only sent to us through the written Quran or the oral, but also through the Quran of the creation. Everything speaks of, is being sent. Their meanings are being sent here now. That's why the fact that they believe in what is sent is very important. And it is through what is sent that we get the meaning of the beautiful names that look to Akhirah. And that's why there is yaqeen. وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. They have yaqeen, they have certainty in the hereafter.